I don't know about you, but Pokémon Pokopia has completely taken over my mind. I wake up thinking about it, I think about it when I'm trying to get work done, when I'm cooking, when I'm pooping, outside for some reason, and I'm still running through build ideas or Pokemon habitat location ideas when I'm trying to go to bed at night. Maybe I need help, but at the very least, I wanted to chat with you today to talk about what it is that makes this game so fun and so addictive, and why it's already become one of my favourite Pokemon games of all time. So indulge me for a moment, if you will, whilst I talk about my experience with the game through its launch period. Because, and maybe you had a similar experience, maybe not, but during all the build up to launch, so when we were getting the odd trailer and little pieces of information about the game, I sort of felt that it might not be exactly my kind of thing, or that, I remember thinking, okay, so this is going to be kind of like Animal Crossing New Horizons, but I can't imagine it being as strong or as fun as that game was. And do I really need another life sim style game in my life after putting hundreds of hours into Animal Crossing just a few years ago? And so that meant that, and this is quite unusual for me, but I didn't pre-order a copy as soon as pre-orders became available in stores, and I was thinking I'd be happy to wait for a sale or something like that in a few months' time. I think a large part of that was also because I very passionately collect video games physically, and with Pokopia being a keycard and not a proper physical release, I was put off a bit and thought, well, I can probably live without it. But then, and I'm almost embarrassed to admit this, but just before launch it was revealed that there was going to be a limited time event, it was around 5 days into the game's life. You might remember it, it was the More Spores for Hoppip event, which primarily was a way to get Hoppip, Skiploom and Jumpluff in your game, and because there was very little information about it at the time, I believed that if you weren't around for that event, you'd miss the chance to get those Pokemon on your island. And so I was going back and forth on whether I should get this game or not, but then the reviews for the game were absolutely glowing, and I ended up caving in and pre-ordering a copy actually on the day before launch to make sure I didn't miss out on the event, and also because I just couldn't ignore how positive all the reviews were. And it turned out that I was super lucky that I did, because firstly, amazingly, that pre-order came with next day delivery, so I had the game from launch even though I ordered it so late. But also, where I live in the UK at least, physical copies, the keycard copies, just completely sold out at retail over the next couple of days. I've never seen a new video game sell out in stores like that on launch day here, not in recent years anyway, and I can only imagine they completely underestimated how popular it was going to be, or they just didn't produce enough copies. So yeah, here I was with this game that I wasn't even going to buy 2 days ago, and I thought, well, I have a copy now, may as well give it a go. So, launch day. The game had arrived, we actually had a friend staying over with us on that day, and in the evening we all decided to just sort of do our own thing for a bit, so I kind of rudely just took over the TV and started up the game. Almost immediately I fell in love with the charm of the whole thing. There's an immediate sense of humour and just pure fun in the game's writing right from the very beginning. I think I underestimated how good of an idea it actually is to have a Ditto be the player character, and the fun you can have with that from a game design point of view. And because the game eases you into its core mechanics very quickly, teaching you about how habitats work and how the Pokemon are going to want to be looked after and stuff, you can instantly see the potential that the game has within that sort of first 10 minutes or so. The Pokemon themselves are just a delight as well. They're all animated really well, full of bold expressions, individual personality traits that match the Pokemon in question, and they have genuinely funny dialogue. So when you're playing through those first few minutes of the game, building your first habitats and meeting the old favourites, Bulbasaur, Charmander and Squirtle, everything just already feels right. Despite the world around you being an intentionally barren wasteland with nothing going on, you can see how the game will soon become absolutely full of life if you put the work into it, which I think has you hooked from the beginning. And before I move on to what it is about the game that's had me hooked for just hours on end, and why it's become one of my favourite Pokemon games ever, I also want to give a quick shout out to something I noticed within the first few hours that might go unnoticed by some players, but is really, really welcome. And that is, occasionally, Professor Tangrowth, the Pokemon who essentially guides you through the game and is a key figure in the game's plot and story progression, Tangrowth every now and then makes a point of telling you to basically slow down. The game gives you a small amount of direction, or rather a hint of a direction of where you might want to go next, but it's very clear that it's all optional. Tangrowth reminds you by literally telling you that you can play this game however you want to. You can do whatever you want to do, whether that's story progression or just building homes for the fun of it, whatever you want, and you're actively encouraged and reminded to do so. I don't know about you, but I really appreciate that reassurance. It's not forced, there's no hand-holding, it's just gentle hints and genuine kindness to encourage you to enjoy the game at your own pace. So well done to the dev team for including those messages. So the start of the game's pretty great. I could see that I wanted to invest a decent amount of time into it already, but actually it's once you start to make some real progress and you start to see the scale, the depth, and the love and care that's gone into crafting this game and this world. It was all of that that made me really realise that this is something special, and why it's taken over my thoughts ever since. Perhaps the biggest and best thing about Pokopia, which I truly didn't expect, is that the Pokemon universe, its lore, its history, its iconic significance, has all been treated and handled by the developers so well. I think one of the reasons I wasn't completely sold on the idea of the game before launch was that I didn't think it would really add much or take care of Pokemon's lore. You know, from the main series games and titles that already exist, I thought it'd be a new take that would have to make up its own rules to accommodate this life sim world crafting game mechanic that it has. But that couldn't be more wrong. Everything about the game ties into the Pokemon world so well. This isn't just Animal Crossing or The Sims, but with a Pokemon license just smacked on it to sell millions of copies. This is a new life sim experience in its own right that uses what we already know and love about Pokemon to form the very structure of how it all works. I'm talking about the way in which Pokemon's moves are used to build habitats and fully utilise objects and equipment, like grass types being important with helping you grow your crops, moves like Rock Smash, Cut and Water Gun being used, just like HMs from the main series, to put a Pokemon twist on building and crafting, and even things like fire types running away to shelter when it starts raining, and you having to accommodate the specific elemental and personality-driven needs of each Pokemon when designing their homes. It shares similarities with games like Animal Crossing because, of course it does, but it does things in its own way and actually takes things a lot further than most life sim games do. The attention to detail is just outstanding. And the lore, my goodness. If you've been subscribed to this channel for a while, you probably know just how much I love going deep into the story and lore of the Pokemon universe. And this game is an absolute treasure trove for that. As some of you will have gathered if you've played the game yourself, Pokopia is actually set in Kanto, the region made famous by Pokemon Red and Blue, but a long time in the future, a post-apocalyptic Kanto, if you will. I love that some of this is more obvious and that it's pointed out to you through pieces of information that you uncover throughout the story, and that other parts of it are more subtle. There are little nods for nerds like me to pick up on and realise as you make more progress. I've loved the moments where you realise, oh, hang on, this withered wasteland area is Fuchsia City, isn't it? You can see the original layout of the Pokemon Center and where the Safari Zone was and stuff like that, and oh wow, it's Sabrina's gym from Saffron City buried in rubble, and oh look, it's the SS Anne docked outside Vermilion City. It's nostalgia done right, and having this sort of familiarity to your surroundings, and essentially a blueprint for the way that you could go about rebuilding everything around you, trying to replicate the Kanto that we already know. I think that's given me even more inspiration to put more hours into it. And all of this is why it's now just consistently on my mind. I'm trying to go to sleep at night and all I can think about is, oh, well, if Rocky Ridges is based on Pewter City, maybe I could try to make the cliffs around it into a version of Mount Moon to sit next to it. Or maybe my Voltorb would be happier if I moved it into the power plant when I get a chance. Or, oh, I keep forgetting to make that water wheel setup to get the last Pokemon I need for that habitat. There's just so much to do, and it's also fun to do. And coming into the game with a deep love for Kanto, all these locations, all the Pokemon that you're seeing and trying to look after, it all just makes me happy playing it. There's no other way to put it. If you've been playing Pokémon Pokopia 2, please do let me know how you've been finding it in the comments below. I'd especially love to hear how you felt during those opening few days or few weeks with the game, and whether you've had this similar sort of excitement and happiness that I've had. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more chill, fun-focused Pokemon discussion just like this. I have plenty more thoughts to share on Pokopia in the future, so look forward to that. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.